So more women than men have tried S&M. That's false.
One in 7 men compared to 1 in 10 women have tried S&M sex, apparently. Dr. Miriam Stoppard's going to be shedding some more light on fetishes in just a moment. Half of that, Amy. First, though, we're asking if fetishes are a perfectly harmless private activity between consenting adults or something else entirely, a sign perhaps that you're more in need of therapy than a thrashing. Like millions of other people, I have been devouring every detail of Max Mosley's privacy case against the News of the World. The paper claimed back in March that the Formula One chief enjoyed a sadomasochistic sex session with 5 women. Whether they're prostitutes or not is under dispute, although he did pay them cash. Max, the son of Britain's most notorious fascist Sir Oswald Mosley, also denies the paper's claim it was a sick Nazi orgy and defends his sexual preferences for a good thrashing as a perfectly harmless private activity. Although whether Max's wife of 43 years, Jean, would feel it's perfectly harmless fun, I do not know. She knew nothing at all about what he'd been getting up to. I'll be honest, I said before, I just don't get it. I mean, any of it. I'm not entirely convinced getting thrashed until you bleed is perfectly harmless fun. In Excess star Michael Hutchins, DJ Kevin Greening, the Tory MP Stephen Milligan, they've all died while indulging sex games that were, again, sort of beyond my comprehension. I know in some cases drugs were involved, but not all. And, of course, not all fetishes are so dangerous. Not every fantasy involves pain. We talk about adult babies, there's food freaks, shoes, PVC, chubby chasers, whatever they are, right down to communal garden turn-ons, I suppose, like naughty undies and uniforms. I guess there's something for everyone out there, but not everyone ends up fulfilling their fantasies, do they, Miriam? I mean, I really am. I'm not joking. I don't get it.
Well, but actually, I'm not sure that it needs understanding in the way that you want understanding, because I think most fetishes start in childhood. So, for instance, if your adored mother, you used to sit by her and watch her put her makeup on, you associate makeup, powder, scent with a lot of loving feelings that you felt for your mother, and you might want to recreate those in later life. The spanking thing, which, by the way, is called the English disease.
Is that right?
Yes. It's, you know, it's thought to stem from being spanked when you were at school, and that there were pleasurable feelings associated with that. And can I just say that to a child seeking attention, because there isn't a lot of love and affection in the family, any attention is good. So negative attention is just as good as good.
When you say good, it satiates their desire for attention, but it's not doing them good, is it?
Well, they feel that a need is satisfied. You know that children will be naughty in order to be told off, because being told off means that they've got their parents' focused attention. So being spanked to a young, and by the way, it's mostly men who have fetishes, not women. So a young boy being spanked feels that, well, at least I've got their attention, and they can go on to use spanking as a sexual aid because they associate it with being given, and they may even construe it as affection.
Do people who need to do that, do they need help? Or is it perfectly harmless fun, as Max Mosley sort of seems?
I don't see fetishes as, you know, a disease or something that needs to be corrected, as long as nobody comes to any harm because of the fetish. But there's an awful lot of fetishes which are very common and don't do anybody any harm between consenting adults. I think, you know, in your intro you said drawing blood. I think, actually, that there is something wrong if that's what you enjoy. But I wouldn't want to condemn the average fetish with high heels, with, you know, with body parts.
What if it is, in Mosley's case, from his own admissions, things stepped up significantly a couple of years after he got married, and he, you know, started constructing these fairly elaborate scenarios, which involves a total deception to his wife. So again, you know, he may have been getting his rocks off. He may have considered that a perfectly harmless activity between him and the women that he was paying for their services. But his relationship is suffering. I
think that that example means that the person's gone into a dangerous area. The because, as you say, it doesn't...
So there is a risk that
it does
they
involve
develop.
deception. But the other thing is, I think a fetish is dangerous if it's the only way that you can enjoy sex and you totally rely on it. That means it's ruling your life. You actually have lost your, you know, what love and sex is really about. And I think that is an area that would need help.
Right, OK. Dominic, we were talking about this before we came on air. Actually, as you probably gathered, I've been talking about it almost non-stop. I mean, but I like to think I can understand it, try and get a handle on most
well,
things.
I agree with
you should try it.
I don't think it's...
No, I don't like pain, Tim, I really don't.
I like the idea of it... Sorry, I don't like the idea of it. I think it's OK amongst consenting adults, and I think it's harmless for them because they don't come to any harm. But I think it's progressive. I think you start with something that will progress on to satiate your desire, so it's sort of a never-ending thing, which is a nightmare. I mean, I personally don't have any, but we were talking before.
Does it, though? Does it progress?
Well, it's interesting, though, Tim, because we were talking, and Tim's got some unbelievable fetishes, and he was discussing whether he actually discuss it on air.
OK. Because I think I know where you're going with this. I don't want to say anything. It's up to you if you want to disclose about...
Personally...
No, the story you were telling me before we came on air about the porn.
I don't recall that.
OK.
What was it?
About someone you knew.
Oh, someone... Yeah, yes. There is someone I do know, yeah, who I used to work with. And he became obsessed with porn, got his wife involved in porn, and it eventually got to the point where he couldn't be involved with his wife without pornography. She didn't like it, and eventually he couldn't consummate the relationship. He couldn't actually ejaculate because it got sort of so... He requires so much stuff to help him get to where he needed to be. The relationship broke down, and he's in a really bad place.
Janet.
No, I think Miriam's point is key, really. I mean, we're going to talk about intimacy and restoring it in relationships, and I think Mrs. Mosley must be feeling that the intimate side of their relationship has definitely gone for a burden. And I think that anything that really doesn't involve you as a couple long-term, because my personal confession would be, and I'm sorry it's not as salacious as you might like, is that I think sex is jolly good fun, and I hope to be having it in 30 years' time. And I don't want to be doing anything now that I will not be physically able to do or get to. So in other words, you know, if you keep your taste vanilla, as they say, then you have, I think, more of a fighting chance of being able to enjoy sex. Because after all, we're not talking about just spicing up a relationship. We're talking, as Miriam said, about something that is completely dependent on what you do sexually to get off.
OK, Tim.
I'm the same as you. I don't really understand that. I quite like girls in socks. That's my fetish. But
I can see that as well.
About as far as it goes. I did have a friend who moved into a flat, and he went into the cupboard, and there was an adult baby grow, and he brought it into the office and wore it. And as we would do, we just all sniggered a lot, but couldn't quite get our heads around why that would be attractive to someone in a sexual manner. I just don't understand it. Same as you, I don't like pain, so I don't get it.
Yeah.
The question is, though, is it harmful? I think probably not.
Well, I just want to ask Miriam one more question before we go to calls. It's just following on from what Janet said, you know, just wants to enjoy sex for years to come. And sex, in many ways, is about satisfaction. And it strikes me with the fetish things is that you can't get satisfaction, the satisfaction that I would get from sex, having what we would describe as normal sex, I guess, that you need something else. And that's when I start to feel quite sorry for people like Max Mosley.
Yes, but Matthew, you know, if you take it as a broad spectrum, we all need something. And, you know, one end of the spectrum, there are things that we would all accept are perfectly OK. And at the other end, of which Mosley seems to be an extreme example, there are things which make you go, whoa, hang on a minute, hang on. So I don't think it's right to just dismiss everything. And there are lots of things that I could imagine, forgive this, Janet doing in 30 years' time, that, you know, would enhance sex, and why not?
OK. Let's throw it open to you, see if we can shine some light on fetishism, Amy.
OK, we've got our first caller uses fetishes in his relationship at the moment. It's Frank on line 2.